Hi folks, now quite a lot of you took away tomato plants in the plant swap and we've had many questions as to what to do next, and normally obviously we'd be talking about this in the monthly garden club meetings, but we thought we'd just put a little short video together to explain what to do next. Okay, so when the roots are beginning to show out the bottom of the pot, it's time to pot it on, and by potting it on, basically what that means is putting it into a plant pot that's one size bigger, and you probably do that a couple of times during the growing season before it goes out into its final location. And for potting these on, basic normal multi-purpose compost is absolutely fine. I'm going to show you the traditional method of potting a plant on, and I'm also going to show you a little special tip as well. So this is the standard way of potting something on. So you get a pot which is one size bigger, fill it with some multi-purpose compost, make a small hole, knock out the plant, careful making sure you don't damage the stem, and then just place it into the bottom of the hole you just made, add a bit more compost in, firm it down around the edges, give it a bit of a knock, and there you go, and that's the standard method. Now I'm going to show you a secret technique. This time what you do is you get your pot, but you don't put any compost in. Instead what you do is you take the tomato plant out and put it right at the bottom of the pot without any compost. Then you top up the compost to only about halfway. Right, that's it. Give it a shake. So the compost is only up to about there, and then after a week or so, once it's grown a little bit more, I'll add a bit more compost in, and just keep doing that until it reaches a centimetre below the top. And the reason for doing that is what it does is it encourages the stem to make more roots, so you get a bigger, stronger plant. And the really clever thing is actually those roots are actually the feeder roots as well, so they take on more nutrients and more minerals, and it actually makes more fruit as well. And you can do this each time you pot on, and also when you put it into your final location as well. Again, you can sink the plant even deeper so that the stem is further in the ground, so again it makes it again healthier and stronger. Now you can give your seedlings and cuttings and plants a little bit of extra protection by putting a cloche over them. Now this is just a homemade cloche with half a milk bottle, but if you've got a fizzy drinks bottle, firstly tut tut, why have you still got a fizzy drinks bottle, but you can cut that in half and use that as well. And when your plant gets to, say, a foot and a half or so, you can plant it into its final location, whether that's outside or if it's in a greenhouse. Now this particular variety is a beefsteak variety called Costoluta Fiorentino. So this one you can actually plant outdoors as well as in a greenhouse. And if you've got two plants, why not try one indoors and one outside? Now there's two types of tomato plants. There's the bush variety, which you just let grow and it creates a nice big bush, or there's the cordon variety. Now this is a cordon variety, so what that means is you basically grow it up as a long cane, train it to a cane or something, some support, and you want it to grow a nice long stem until it reaches, say, the top of the greenhouse. And what will happen is the plant will try to produce extra side shoots, and it wants to create a bush, but what you do is you actually pinch those out from the bottom and generally you throw them away. But a little trick for you, what you can do is allow them to grow a little bit longer, maybe a couple of inches before you pinch them out. Pinch it out from the bottom, just using your fingertips, and actually sink that cutting straight into a pot of compost, and you get extra tomato plants for free. Now there are a few pests and diseases that tomato plants suffer with. One of the most common ones is tomato blight, and most of us will probably get it. It is very common, unfortunately, and there's not really many chemicals that you can get out there, and to be honest, we don't really want to be using too many chemicals. So here's a natural remedy you can use. It's organic, and it's aspirin tablets. Okay, so I'm going to show you a little technique to prevent catching blight on your potatoes and tomatoes. So if you use these, which is soluble aspirin tablets, you take one tablet, dissolve it in 4 litres of water, put it into a little sprayer and spray your tomatoes and potatoes twice a month. And what that does is it makes the plants actually stronger, they can resist more pests and diseases, and it reduces the chance of catching blight by 50%. Most of us will catch blight on our potatoes or tomatoes, you know, it's very common, unfortunately, and there's not many other sort of treatments you can use out there for it at the moment. And the other really great thing is when you spray your tomatoes with the soluble aspirin tablets, what it does is it actually makes the plant stronger, and it concentrates the fruits as well, so it actually makes the tomatoes twice as sweet, so it doubles the sweetness. And the other really clever thing is as well, it increases the vitamin C content by 50%. Yeah, so give this a go. You take 1 tablet, like I say, dissolve it in 4 litres of water and spray your potatoes and tomatoes twice a month. Give it a go. Another problem that tomato plants suffer with is something called blossom end rot. So what that basically means is on the bottom of your tomato you'll have like a brown patch, and it looks like it's rotting. And if you look in the textbooks, what it will say is it's a calcium deficiency, but you can ignore that. Basically what it means is it's irregular watering, and what's happened is the plant has dried out and then you've put more water in, and it's just caused a mineral deficiency. So what you want to do is make sure the tomato plant never ever dries out. Just keep it constantly moist, not wet, but constantly moist, and you'll avoid getting blossom end rot. Now, when it comes to fertilising your tomatoes, when it gets to a few feet, that's when you'll start to use a product like this. And this is a tomato fertiliser, and the instructions will say to use it maybe every couple of weeks. But what is actually better than that is if you feed it at half the strength, half the recommendation on the back, but do that every week. So maybe every Friday you just fertilise your tomatoes. And if you have any other questions, feel free to either give us a call or post a question on our Facebook page.